Welcome on back to the channel. We are continuing our Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds coverage here on the channel today, and we're going to be talking about the new weapon type that is coming to every single profession, and that is the spear. It's so exciting. Having an underwater weapon be transformed into an above ground weapon for all of us to use will be rather new and thrilling. I have an additional blog post talking about the spears titled Straight to the Point, a primer on spears in Janthir Wilds. So today we're going to be going through the blog post, talking about the spears and also some of the ideas surrounding these above ground spears. Before we head into the video, I would like to remind you that I have links down below if you'd like to pre-order or pre-purchase Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds to gain access to the spears, new combat features, housing, and a future Raid Wing 8. Thank you all so much for your support, and let's get on with the video. So today we have the blog post that we're going to get into. They talk about a couple of different questions that maybe some of you might have had, and this is more so just having a bit of clarification about the topic. It reads, "Ho travelers, my name is Taylor Brooks, and I'm a combat designer here at ArenaNet. I'll be your guide to our new combat feature in Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds, the Coden Spear Training Mastery. By training with the lowland Coden of Janthir, you'll learn how to use your spear on land in new and exciting ways. Starting tomorrow and over the next few weeks, we'll be detailing how each profession utilizes the terrestrial spear. For today, I thought it would be a good idea to cover some of the general spear information you'll need to know. First question, will spears be one-handed or two-handed weapons on land? Spears are two-handed weapons, both on land and underwater. Will spears on land just use the same skills as when used underwater? No, every spear has an entirely new set of skills for each profession when used on land. They also have brand new skill effects and animations that we are excited for everyone to see. If every profession is getting a spear, does that mean they will all feel the same? Spears are a versatile weapon, and their gameplay will reflect that. Some professions will employ the spear as a ranged projectile weapon, some will wield it as a melee weapon, and others will utilize it as a magical focus to cast powerful spells. And how can I unlock spear usage on land? The ability to use terrestrial spears will be available when Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds launches. They will be locked behind the first mastery in the Coden mastery line, which is discovered early in the story, or as a purchasable unlock in World vs. World. We want everyone to be able to use your spears early and throughout your journey in Janthir. As with all other combat features, Coden spear training will be unlocked automatically in PvP for those who own Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds. So we've had quite a few questions answered in the first block. First and foremost, this does kind of satiate some of my earlier fears before we even got the expansion trailer as to what is the spear going to be? How is it going to function? Is every profession going to have the same gameplay flow with it, just with different colors? That was my nightmare scenario, but they are reinforcing that here. That is not the case. But this is the first time where we have had confirmation as to how we're going to attain the spears for every single profession. It's not going to be something where you just own the expansion and you automatically just get the weapon, which I actually really appreciate. There is going to be some learning tied to this in terms of Coden mastery, which is a really fun way of, in my opinion, structuring a lore mastery or a racial mastery that we used to get in Heart of Thorns, and providing a really huge feature with it. The next section is, can I use my current underwater spear on land? Yes, spears can be used interchangeably in the aquatic and terrestrial weapon slots, but it is important to note that to equip a spear in both slots, you will need 2 spears. Which spear skins can I use on land? All current spear skins will be able to use on land, and we also plan on adding spear skins with all future weapon skin collections. Will there be a new legendary spear? There will be a new legendary spear released with our first major update following the expansion release. Additionally, the legendary armory will be expanded to store up to 4 Komoholai Kotaki in case you want to wield all the spears all the time. Sorry for my pronunciation if I butcher that. Since engineers and elementalists can use spears on land in the expansion, will they gain the ability to wield spears underwater too? The answer for this is professions that currently cannot use a spear underwater will continue to not be able to use a spear underwater, which makes, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I guess in terms of the expansion features, it's totally fine. The fact that we are actually getting new spears or new forms of spears, and that engineer and elementalist are technically the only two professions in this expansion who are getting access to a new weapon, as all the other professions can technically use the spears underwater, I think that's fine. I think that's okay. Maybe in a future update, they will fidget with the spells and skills to allow them to be translatable underwater so that elementalist and engineer can use them. But for now, no, they're only going to be terrestrial versions of those abilities. And do you need to own Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds to wield spears on land? Yes, this combat feature requires ownership of the expansion. So a little bit more clarification there in terms of the engineer and the elementalist debacle. Legendary spears are confirmed to be coming with the very first update for Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds, which is coincidentally the very first patch is also going to be introducing the 8th raid wing. So I imagine we're going to be needing to actually partake in the raid wings to acquire some crafting materials and to maybe progress our journey with a legendary spear. And because there is going to be a public story mode, convergence mode for the raid, it will be much more accessible for every single person to play and to venture off into. Final section is talking about the beta test for the spears, and also additional hints as to what those abilities might look like. Question, will there be a beta test for spears? Yes, there will be a beta test event from June 27th at 9 AM Pacific time until June 30th at 10 PM Pacific time. This will give everyone a chance to try out spears and give us feedback. We'll be announcing more information about the beta event soon. There will be a stream featuring your favorite developer, in parentheses, me, along with Cal Cohen and Roy Marks. We'll show off all the new spear skills and do a deep dive into what you can expect with them. Be sure to tune in on our Twitch channel on June 21st at noon Pacific time. We'll be back tomorrow and in the coming weeks with more information about the new spears and their skills. We are very excited to give everyone a taste, and so I'll leave you all with some teasers as to what you can expect to see. And this is where we get some fun teasers as to what these abilities are going to be, how they're going to work, how they're going to reinvent the wheel, and how they're going to change things up. So first and foremost, the first hint is a spear skill reminiscent of an old fan favorite. Now, does this mean an old fan favorite Guild Wars 1 character, a Guild Wars 2 character, a mechanic that people enjoyed? New type of auto attack mechanic. Now, what that could be a myriad of things. I like the idea of updating the way that players interact with auto attack mechanics, because every single weapon, or at least main hand and two-handed weapon, has them, and for the most part, they are a little bit more surface level. A set of spear skills featuring a new spin on an existing skill type. You heard it here first, guys and gals. We are getting some new wells. They are doing a reimagining of the well type ability in Guild Wars 2. I'm just kidding, that has not been confirmed, but it's just kind of a funny little aside, because every single AoE ability in the game can kind of be considered a well in some manner, but a new spin on an existing skill type. Our Necromancer is going to have Marks 2.0? I'm interested to see what they mean by that. A set of spear skills with multiple ways to reset the cooldown of its key skill. I wonder what profession that would be tied to, its key skill. Resetting cooldown, so it's kind of a reminiscent of like the Untamed and like the resetting of certain abilities and Willbender damage. A set of spear skills that features a new or a reimagining of a mechanic seen in the original Guild Wars. Minions? Summoning minions? Requiring corpses? What's a mechanic that is in Guild Wars 1 that is not necessarily in Guild Wars 2? Spirits? Comment guesses. Comment any of the imaginings and thoughts that you're having in terms of like these little hints and teasers. A spear skill that inflicts a debilitating effect with a new unique effect. Okay. A debilitating new effect. I wonder what that could be. We have a plethora of crowd control effects. Debilitating with a new unique effect. Maybe a more PvP focused weapon. A set of spear skills that require precise aiming at range. I like this. Maybe like narrow AoE paths that you really have to aim to like pierce through enemies and like catch them. Or you have to charge them up and release them at the proper time. And that could be considered like precision as well. The spear weapon seems to be a very exciting new weapon type, and I don't know if that's because they went into this expansion with the foresight that every single profession is going to get the spear, and that when going down that route, it's like you can really pinpoint and expand upon what spears can do and what your imagination can think of when coming up with spears. On top of this, we have had a few of the same images that we have seen in the current trailers and marketing, but there is one new image that I want to kind of dissect. And I think this is 3 characters in Secrets of the Obscure, and one of the Secrets of the Obscure maps. And it looks like it's a Guardian, a Necromancer, and a Ranger. Now, I say Guardian because this melee combatant is in heavy armor, and there is like a yellow and slightly bluish tinted spell circle in the area. So I'm wondering if this is like them allowing the Guardian to tap into an homage to the Paragon. And then we look to the right of the Guardian and we see a Necromancer with their iconic green and black skill effects. And they have this trailing effect, but there are like some prongs that are like floating around them, so I'm wondering if they are kind of more venomous, like they remind me of Marjorie. These weapons for her original set were the axe and the dagger, and they had these like venomous serpentile green tails to them, and it almost looks like that, kind of like a venom snake tooth, so it could be kind of a fun motif to go into that route. And just the trailing effects, they looked very snake-like. So maybe that's going to be the imagery that is carried through with the Necromancer Spear. And then we have the Ranger, and we can tell it's the Ranger because they're wearing medium armor, but there's also a Sylvari Fernhound fighting the Elemental as well. So this is going to be the Ranger, and they look like they're throwing the spear, which is really, really fun and really nice to see, because in the initial trailer we saw what looks to be and what is the Ranger leaping into combat, and it's kind of funny because Ranger has a myriad of melee weapons and they have never really received a long-ranged damage weapon before, so hopefully the spear will be able to be utilized as both a ranged weapon and also a melee weapon for Rangers. Nice to get some more skill effects and some new images to really dive into the new spears that are coming with Janthir Wilds. And that's kind of all I have for today in terms of the blog post and my overall thoughts on spear. I guess I could leave off with my 3 most anticipated classes to see how they're going to use a spear. It would be Guardian, Necromancer, and Elementalist. I think those are my current 3 as of today. It could change tomorrow. But I really want to see how Elementalist uses a spear with all their different elemental attunements, because we did see them showcased in the trailer, and that animation, the spell effect, and the actual player character animation looked really strong. It looked really good. So that is your roundup of the spears coming with Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds. We have a completely new weapon, which was shown off in the trailer, and then thankfully we just got this initial blog post talking about some of the questions that we might have around the spears. So thank you everyone so much for coming on by. Like the video if you liked it, comment below your thoughts about the spear, and subscribe if you'd like to pre-order Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds. I have links down below. They greatly help me and the channel out, so thank you. Thank you for using those. And if you'd like to support the channel in other ways, I have a Patreon where you can get early access to videos and some exclusive videos that are going to be started up here momentarily, because we have some more expansion coverage to get into. So thank you all so much for coming on by and watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone. Mwah.